Hey, we're live. Hey there, it's Danny here, and welcome to today's training where I'm going to talk to you about how you can write ad copy that converts using my 7-step framework. For many people, writing ad copy is a challenge, to say the least. I find it difficult myself at times. I'm not a copywriter. I'm an ad strategist, but being an ad strategist kind of makes sense to understand how to construct good copy. So I'm going to talk you through my 7-step framework today that explains how I structure ad copy specifically for list building ads. I'm going to focus on that. I talk about list building a lot, and that's a kind of good, or when I say list building, what I'm kind of going to lean into a bit more is running ads to cold traffic to get them to opt in for something, be that a lead magnet, or it might be a masterclass or a webinar. I'll have an example to show you, but I'm going to kind of tear it down a little bit and kind of see how that compares to the framework. So I can see there's a few people watching, which is awesome. If you want to drop a comment, look at the instructions where you're watching from, and look at the where you're watching from. There should be some instructions from StreamYard on how to comment, because all the comments should come up in the StreamYard platform. If they don't and I miss anything, then I will come back and respond afterwards. But this is going out to a couple of different places on Facebook, including my membership. It's going out on YouTube. It's going out on LinkedIn. I think that's it. Maybe it's going out to other places as well. So without further ado, let me get into this. I'm going to share my screen by clicking there. There we go. Right. This is my 7-step ad copy framework. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go into the ad library and make sure that you can see that in StreamYard. Yes, you can. Good. Right. Now I know that what I'm going to be doing on the screen is visible to you. So let's start with the framework. I'm going to kind of go through this, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the ad library and I'm going to show you an example of this in action. Now, of course, the first thing I should say is that this 7-step framework is not the only way to write ad copy, but it's very, very common. And by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Claire Penetrau. I did Claire's, I forgot what it's called. I can't believe it. But I did Claire's Facebook ads course many years ago now. It seems like a very, very long time ago. And I learned this from Claire, this framework, and I've kind of adapted it a little bit, but I've used it ever since. Claire's an incredible Facebook ad strategist and does amazing things, and certainly helped me to get to where I am today. Anyway, this framework is not the only way that you can write ad copy. There are other simpler ways to write ad copy, but I like this. I use this personally. And for clients that want to write their own copy in our agency, I use it. I provide this framework to them so that they can kind of come up with stuff, and then we'll vet it and make sure that it's going to be good and ready and compliant for ads. So let me just talk through the framework, and then I'm going to compare this to an ad from the ad library from somebody that I have a lot of respect for. Come to that in a second. So firstly, you start with your ad copy. In fact, before I get into this, let's just talk about what's happened. What has the user experienced to get to the point where they're going to read your ad copy? So we're talking Facebook ads and Instagram ads. The premise of those is that they are going to appear in somebody's feed while they're scrolling through it, and you need to capture their attention. So if you've followed me for a while, you will have heard me talk about this a lot, right? But you need to capture their attention first, and that's the purpose of your creative. And then the way that people interact with an ad is the next thing that they're most likely to do is to look at the first bit of copy that appears normally above the image or the video, which is your creative, right? The visual part of your ad. So that is this part here, part one. What you need to do with your copy, once your ad has captured their attention, your copy needs to get them hooked in, keep them engaged, and then drive them to take the call to action that you want. And that's what this framework is designed to enable. Okay. So the first thing you do is you either ask a question or make a bold statement that really kind of touches a raw nerve with your ideal client, right? You want to really connect with them at that point so that you are hooking them in. This is called the hook. And it's called that for a reason. It's a fishing analogy, I believe, being a part-time fisherman, very part-time fisherman myself. Then a hook is used to get bait, right? Not to get bait, it's used to catch fish with bait. So the hook is designed to hook people in, to get them to click on that little see more link where they're going to read the rest of the copy that's going to be covered in these parts here, right? So the first thing you need to do is really, really go all in to make that connection and hook them in. And that's why the best way to do that is to either ask a really direct question or to make a really bold statement. But it's got to really connect with that audience, and your ideal client is the audience, right? And you've got to really make sure that they look at it and go, wow, what? I need to see what this is about, right? Then part 2 is telling a story. And I don't mean you have to write pages and pages and pages like a book, but you just need to kind of paint the picture, set the scene a little. And maybe here, what you might do, there's lots of different ways to do this, but what you might do is explain how you can help, or maybe how you have helped others in the past, right? So if you've asked a question, whatever that question might be, then you might explain how you can help answer that question for them. If you've made a bold statement that says, you know, what I'm going to show you in a second is, I forget the exact terminology, but the coaching industry is dead. Okay, that's a big statement. You're going to definitely capture people's attention that are in the coaching industry. But you might then explain how you can help them to understand, well, it's not really dead, or how you've helped others in the past. And I'm going to come on to this. Then part 3, once you've started to tell that story, is you've got to sew in some credibility, right? You've got to build rapport with the audience, and you've only got a little kind of window to do this in, but you need to demonstrate that you are, credible. You are a thought leader, that you are somebody that knows what they're talking about, that, you know, is able to help them. And remember, the whole purpose of the ad, as I'm kind of going through this, is to get somebody to give you their email address, either for a lead magnet, you know, a free piece of content, or it might be to sign up for a masterclass or a webinar. Okay, so you've got to demonstrate your credibility and talk about talk a little bit about why they should trust you. Okay, then you want to tell them what it is that you're offering them. Pretty simple. So I've got this thing, and this is what it is. And then you can use bullet points if you want, or just like have a couple of, you know, 2 or 3 statements that talk about the benefits. So you've told them what this thing is that you're going to offer them. Then you've got to tell them why it's going to be good for them. So what are the benefits that are included in that? And then use, and I love these, we talk about these inside the agency all the time, especially with our clients, so that statements, or so that you can statements. So here's a benefit. I have a guide that is the 7 most common and costly Facebook ad mistakes. Many of you that are in my world will have downloaded that from seeing one of my ads. If you haven't, then I'll drop a link in the comments so you can get your hands on it. But it's a free guide, and it talks about the 7 most common and costly Facebook ad mistakes that people make and how to avoid them. Why? So look, what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit is I'm going to tell you what these mistakes are, so that you can avoid making them yourself. That's a really high level benefit of that lead magnet, right? So why? Why is that important? Because if you make the same mistakes that I see everyone else making, then your ads aren't going to work, right? So I've been in this game a long time. I know what the 7 most common mistakes are. I'm going to share them with you. I'll tell you how to not make those mistakes, giving you a much better chance of succeeding with your ads. Brilliant, right? That's pretty good in my book. Then you want to kind of wrap up, right? Provide a strong and clear call to action, which is just saying, hey, if you want it, this is what you've got to do. Click the button, click the link, go to this web page, whatever it might be. Click the link to start a conversation in Messenger, however you're going to deliver that. And then part 7, and this is optional, but it's a part of the framework, is use emojis to make the text more engaging, right? The example I'm going to show you doesn't use emojis, and that's fine. In my ads, I do, because I just think it breaks text up a little bit and makes it a bit easier to read. But look, that's a framework. Frameworks are functional but quite boring. I like getting into the thick of things. So let's come to the ad library. I'm going to just double check that you can see that, because there's no point me going through all of this if you can't, and you can. Good. All right. So now I've got to go back to where I was. Here. Cool. Right. So Russ Ruffino. Russ is a very successful entrepreneur. I'm not going to kind of tell Russ's story because I don't know it, but from what I know of Russ, he works with coaches, same as I do, and he runs clients on demand. The thing I love about Russ, I've never done any of his programs, but his ads are awesome. I love Russ's ads. He's got a great, I'm sure he has a team. He's got a very successful business. But his team are great with creative. They're great with copy. And I've just looked from afar and admired Russ's ads for many, many years. So I'm going to come into this one here in a second and dive into that and kind of take you through how it marries up with the framework. But, you know, things I love about Russ is that I know that he's used this image in his ads for a number of years. Now, this ad, according to the ad library, has been running since the 28th of November. So it's a different iteration, but he's used this image for a while. Why? Because it must work. He's been testing his ads for a long time. So I don't obviously watch his ads all of the time, but every now and then I kind of check in and see what other people are doing just to get inspiration, which is why I love the ad library. And yeah, it's good to see that he's still using some of his images that he has done previously. Anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into that because it's a rabbit hole. What I'm going to do is take you into this ad here. So I'm going to click on See Ad Details. Now this brings up just this ad in a window of its own. So let's talk through this. Back to the framework. So part 1, question or bold statement that speaks to a pain point or desire of your ideal client. This is nailed in one sentence because Russ says, obituary for the coaching industry. He will be targeting coaches. He will have his targeting all set up and he will be targeting coaches or lookalikes of his existing audience, which is going to be filled with coaches. So if I see, and again, let's just come back a sec to the way that people engage with ads, then the first thing they're going to see is this image as they're scrolling. Oh, what is that? Great image. Excuse me. The Grim Reaper in a graveyard, the moon shining through the clouds. It's a bit scary. It's a bit edgy, but it's going to stop people scrolling. They're going to go, what is that? Because it's not a picture of someone who's breakfast. It's not a cat video. It's very different. It's not particularly bright in color, but I like it. Now they might come down to look at the description here and the newsfeed link description, the headline, sorry, and the newsfeed link description. And they're also compelling. Good copy here. RIP, the death of the coaching industry, right? But what's mainly going to happen is people are going to check this out. They're going to stop scrolling and go, "Ooh, what is that?" And then they're going to come up here and see this. Obituary for the coaching industry. If I'm a coach, I'm definitely going to click on see more so that I can read the rest of this copy, right? So job done there. Let's tick the box. Part 2 is telling a story. Explain how you can help or have helped in the past. So again, this is a framework. Russ doesn't follow my framework exactly. He has his own framework that works very well. But what Russ then starts to do for a lot of this is to tell a story. And I'd love this story. If you read this copy, it's fantastic. So he's talking about how the online coaching industry is dead. He talks about how, this is brilliant visual copywriting. It was found in bed, clutching a fake 2 Comma Club award, suffocated under a pile of its own BS. Amazing. People familiar with the matter blame the industry's untimely passing on, so this is kind of like he's kind of painting a picture here. Then he's talking about a big truth here, that there's loads of hype in the coaching industry. There are people that are just saying they're incredibly successful coaches that have never got people results. And he kind of builds on that a little more here. And then he kind of talks about how, the industry is being mourned. So this is such clever copy. I really, really love it. So has he told a story? Absolutely. Okay. He hasn't explained how he can help yet, but he is definitely painting a picture, and a very, very vivid one, and a very, very relevant one. Then he kind of morphs into the next part, which is explaining how you can help and demonstrating credibility and building rapport. Because he does this. The sad fact, experts say, and I love the way also that this is kind of written almost like it is like an obituary, but it's kind of a bit like an article that you might read in a publication rather than just an ad. So it's so clever. The sad fact, experts say, is that only a handful of online coaches are actually getting real results for their clients. So now he's kind of saying, it's not all doom and gloom. Some people are doing good stuff. As an example of a coaching company that actually works, experts pointed to Clients on Demand. Oh, look, that's Russ's company. Clever lad. One of the pioneers in the high-ticket space, whose clients have gone on to do over $1 billion in high-ticket coaching sales. So, yes, he has said how he can help. Yes, he has demonstrated credibility and built rapport. So we're ticking both of those. Then he just kind of inserts a fake quote here. I love it. In an industry choking to death on its own BS, it's nice to see a company that actually delivers. So he's kind of building on the credibility piece. And then he very simply wraps up. Clients on Demand will be holding a brief memorial service for the coaching industry and will then be hosting a free training detailing how its clients are building 6, 7, and even 8-figure coaching businesses while everyone else struggles. So at that point, he's telling them about the freebie, which I think was called a masterclass, right? A free training. And then he's not doing this so much, but it's totally fine because I think there's already a lot of credibility here. He's not using bullet points to highlight the key benefits, and he's not using so that you can statements. But he is absolutely saying that the training details how its clients are building 6, 7, and 8-figure coaching businesses. So think about a coach, right? Think about a coach that's probably struggling to build a business online, is, really great at what they do, but just can't seem to get the right traction when it comes to building a business online. They need a system, right? They need to find, to tap into and lean into a process that works, that's going to get them the leads that they need to allow them to build the business of their dreams. So this copy does a great job of kind of taking people through a story and then saying, by the way, I've got a training that tells you how to build a massive coaching business, if that's what you want, right? So I love it. I love it. I love it. He's done that part, that final part, slightly differently. He's not bulleting out like all of the this training will include this topic so that you can do this and this topic so that you can do that. He hasn't done that. But I think what he's done is paint such a brilliantly vivid picture before then. And I think there's enough there for me I would absolutely click on this ad. What, you can teach me how to build a 6, 7, or 8-figure business? I'm in. Finally, he's got the call to action. Very, very straightforward. Click the link below for immediate access. Now, there's not a link showing in here. And there's not a button showing on this ad, but if you click down here, it would work. So that's cool. So he then has provided a strong and clear call to action. And what he hasn't done is use emojis to make the text more engaging, right? But this is the framework that I use personally, that I teach my team and we teach our clients to use. And again, this is getting cold. I am quite convinced that this is not going to go to warm traffic. This will be going to cold traffic, and it will be getting people to opt in for a masterclass. Now, one other thing is that when I do click on this, I can go into the funnel. Hey, good. So what I can then find out just by clicking. So the purpose of the copy in the ad is to get people engaged and to get them to stay engaged and then to take the call to action. And I would definitely click. I would at least click the link on this because I'd be intrigued. And then when I come here, I get told what it is. So it's a super simple 4-step funnel. Okay. So there's also a little bit of curiosity here because he's not telling me much. He's just telling me that I'll be showing you how my clients are building these big businesses, but he's not telling me anything else. So the curiosity in itself is probably enough to pique my interest and get the click. And then here he is giving me more information. So he's telling me why complicated funnels and sales process are a complete waste of time, pain point, because lots of coaches will have complex funnels that aren't delivering. And the simple process we use to enroll 5-figure clients like clockwork. So there's the kind of fix to that, and so on and so forth. He goes through it here, a little bit about him, and then people can just opt in and sign up for the free training. So that, in essence, is that is the framework. Well, that's not the framework, but this is the framework that we use. And I think Russ's is a fantastic example of almost perfectly how this framework is used to get people to convert into his masterclass. So I am going to now probably give you the, oh no, I'm not. I thought I'd give you the infinite screens. Let me just come back here. Okay, so it's interesting to see some of the comments that have come up that I'm not going to respond to. I can't see any comments in StreamYard that warrant a response, but hi to those of you that are watching. I will go around and check all of the platforms that this is broadcasting out to see if any comments come up live or if they come up subsequently, and we'll respond to those. But I hope you got value from that, and I will see you on the next training. Take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.